Well, we had, among other things, a very preliminary proposal. St. Michael's is looking at adding on to their oncology center. And they have a preliminary rough draft of the concept of where they want that building portion to be added on. And they have this big piece of equipment that's already there that's like $3 million to move. So they designed that over what's now partial parking and kind of a pedestrian walkway. So they're very rough preliminary designs. They did a presentation last night to kind of show everybody what they were hoping to accomplish and to take input on, from the Plan Commission, council members, and community members to potentially incorporate into their final design. That, again, will come back in front of the Plan Commission and ultimately City Council for approval.
Now, the city last night did take formal action on the pedestrian wall. Can you explain that briefly?
Sure, and that's not a very unique situation. We have legal streets all over the place in the city that aren't being necessarily used as streets. There's one on up in the 4th District on Red Arrow. There is one, I believe, in the 1st District up on 3rd Street and 6th Avenue, where it's reserved for a street or potential use, so it's on the legal street map of the city of Stevens Point, but to date it hasn't been used. 1st Street in my former district is the same way up by Kent Service Center. Technically that's 1st Street, but there's no development there. It's just kind of woods. 6th Avenue and 3rd is being used as a community garden right now. And Price Street, which didn't end at Illinois Avenue like the actual road does, Price Street actually continues to the other side, which is Fremont. I think it's Fremont. The opposite side of the hospital in front of the church there. So that's still on our official street map, even though it's not being used as a street. It's more of a walkway now, I suppose, to the hospital, and some people, from what I understand, use it to cut through the hospital to get to the other side. So as part of the process with St. Michael's addition of that new oncology center, they know that they're going to have to build over that. Because they're creating a structure over the road, they want assurances that we're never going to reclaim it as a road. So part of the process is officially to have the city say, nope, we have no intention of making that a road again. We're going to vacate it. We're going to take it off the official street map and legally vacate that, saying in effect that the city has no intention ever of making that a road.
Does that mean it's no longer city property?
And yes, once we vacate it, it will become property, in this case, of St. Michael's.
Will there be any financial remuneration to the city for this? I know it's on a big stretch
No,
of
there's
land.
nothing planned. And right now, St. Michael's has really been maintaining it. So I think it's, get it on the tax roll and let St. Michael's take over the responsibility of maintaining that little strip of land. So
Didn't the previous council agree to maintain the view of that church for some of the residents on the other side of the hospital?
And that was a little bit before my time. From what I've read, that was a concern back then, and this was well before my time on city council. We introduced this over a month ago and solicited public comments, and none of the residents in that area have said that was any longer a concern of theirs. I don't know what happened back in the day when that was brought up, but I'm told from a variety of sources that it was very critical and not so much critical, so I don't know exactly what it was back then. But it was a concern, and apparently that is no longer a concern.
Okay.
Because we haven't had any input from people living right in that area.
You haven't heard input pro or con?
Right, yeah. Well, you heard some testimony last night at the meeting where Kathy Dugan, who doesn't live there but lives near there, within a few blocks, say that it was a concern for her. We had another person who bikes that route and said it was not a concern. They didn't care at all. So those were the only two people last night that had made any comment, pro or con.
Could that be a sign that the residents in the area aren't aware of what's going on?
No, I don't think so, because there's notification processes and it's been in the media. I suppose there are people who may not be aware of it, but I would hope that through all the different sources that we've been talking about this for well over a month, that somebody would have heard it.
And if someone does have comments, pro or con, or complaints, what
Sure.
would you recommend they do?
If someone lives in the area and has a concern one way or the other, contact the clerk's office, or you can send an email, or you can show up at the meeting on a week from Monday, which is going to be the 20th for council.